drag racing. Alrighty, so I'm doing the governor or the removal of the jack shaft and putting on the torque converter, and I forgot to start taping it, so I've already taken the jack shaft off, and I'll tell you what, guys, it's easy. I'll get into any issues you might have, but one thing I just want to point out that a lot of people I saw, even on a lot of the videos, these engine risers they give you are really nice, but they're raw rolled steel, tubular square steel. And I tell you, if you spend an extra minute and paint them, I put some primer and some paint on them. My goodness, they're gonna rust and look like hell really pretty quick, I think. So I think you're nutty not painting those. I just want to throw that out there. We're over at Joe's Restoration and Motor Building, and he got a new flash for his ECU on the FC07. So I might have a hard time keeping up with them with the 500 this year, but we'll have fun trying anyway. So yeah, we're gonna cut the bar right now. Let you know how it turns out. We're gonna do a rough cut with the Sawzall, and then we're gonna go back with the grinder later because we don't want to make a mess in the garage. It's a little cold outside, so we're doing a rough cut just so we can get some work done, and then we'll go in and clean it up nice. And I'm gonna probably repaint too and all that. So we'll let you know how that turns out. I'm not going to bother you guys with the noise of all this. So let's see what happens. Well, there's some guys that say they angle the torque converter into the other set of holes, not the center set, and are able to do it without raising the motor. I think you still got to cut this bar. That's my biggest, animosity about doing this whole job is cutting a part of your bike. Who knows, maybe 35 years from now, this will be a custom bike. Like, wow, what a classic. And someone will go, oh, yeah, you cut the bar, But, oh, well, a torque converter's worth it to me. All right, so far, I'm telling you, nothing's been a problem whatsoever. The fit and finish, it's really close to the frame. There's a pretty good gap. But, yeah, I'm telling you, I'm not trying to steer you away from my video, but just watch the Go Power Sports video and, go from there. It's super simple. So there's 7 washers that basically make a spacer. A little bit of a shim, I think, that if there would have been actually a real spacer, that probably on some of the better Comets and stuff you would get with that. So you want to make sure you put that piece in, and then you have this really high quality. This was the price of admission. I paid a lot of money for this, but this spacer for this little bitty 5/8 inch shaft. I've seen a lot of guys do them with the Comets, and they buy these little shim ones from Harbor Freight or wherever, and they just aren't the quality of that. Yeah, the fit and finish, I probably overpaid for this whole contraption, but I just didn't want to deal around and nickel and dime myself on eBay and find things not working. So then you put the back part of it on. And what's really nice, I don't know if you can see this, I was already messing with it. It really clears these bolts nice, and I see a lot of guys, it's so close to these bolts. It's like, oosh, but they run it anyway. And this will line up. That chain will line up. Everything's going to line up. So there's a lot of them that have a bushing here that comes on separate. This bushing is mounted to this. So this will work as the bushing that will slide when you're in, low RPMs, and allows the belt just to kind of flob around there. So I'll go from there. This next piece just goes on, and I'm sorry I got my iPhone. I didn't bring my GoPro, and I don't have a lot of mileage on this phone as far as data. So, all right. Yeah, I'll let you guys know anything else going on. Whoa, there's my brother's been working on that. That's a vintage Manco with a Tecumseh engine on it. It runs really good. It was going like 30 miles an hour. It was blowing this thing away. That put me over the edge on a torque converter. There it is. Hey, super easy. No issues at all. I mean, the only thing is like, I didn't know how much torque. You don't know what torque they say. Basically, I used an impact, but I went real ginger, and I just basically got the lock washer to flatten out. This one I didn't mess with. It was factory. I'm hoping I got to look into that to see if there's something, if that doesn't come at the proper torque, but everything feels good. I didn't remove this heat shield like people say you do, and there's gap in there. You can definitely fit more than a credit card through there, so it's not touching. Lining up the chain was a little bit of a challenge because with those risers, your motor is a lot more sloppy. There's a lot more give in you, even if give side to side, which I don't think I had before. So I had to have my brother help me out because you can triangulate to where this will rub here, rub there, and it's like, ah. But I think we got it pretty good now. I had to buckle it down really good. And chain, a little tighter than normal, but I like it that way. Mini bikes don't have any flex. They don't have a rear suspension, so I don't really see the necessity to have it be to where you're going to have that in there. I think you just want it tight. You don't want this thing coming off on the trail on you. But one other little thing, too, they don't mention, and I noticed that in all the videos, nobody shows putting that third bolt in right down here for the cover, the shroud that goes over it, and that bolt right there, there's no way you'd ever put a bolt in there. There's your engine plate right here. It's right there. It's just about touching the engine plate. There's no way. So you're just going to have to go with the 3 bolts that attach the cover on. I'm kind of wishing it was a quick release deal like the original setup the jack shaft had. But so you're going to need to make sure you have that wrench with you along with that size and an additional belt if you're really going out in the field distance and, you know, monkey butt 100s or whatever. Yeah, I'll let you know if anything else is going on. Pretty much, it's super simple. I don't know. I watched videos where guys looked like they were struggling like crazy, but this worked well. So, alrighty, let me show you what I'm talking about with this throttle. So, I'm sure some of you guys have seen some of these. Right here is the nut where the throttle stop was. It's, you know, welded on or brazed on there. You could probably get a grinder in there and free that up so that this was still usable as a adjustment to the governor stop. But I just went ahead and used a Dremel and cut it right off. I'm getting a lot more travel now all the way. So this is the spring I'm talking about that people talk about. I cut 7 loops off of it, and it's still, let me show you what I mean. Here's the Honda spring, and I'm going to show a picture of the package. It's a certified Honda part. It's what Honda really uses on their GX200 motors. But this spring, if you look, when you throttle, it bunges and it does really impede the total travel. And I see what a lot of guys say. So what I'm going to do, I wanted them both because I didn't want to have a failure on the trail. But you know what? Life's short. Screw it. I'm going to go ahead and just remove this sucker totally right here. Put the throttle cable back in, and hopefully I'll get enough return with just this little bitty spring here. It's a little dinky thing. So another thing I'm pretty happy about, this was a little bit of a bear to get the cover off of your air filter. You got to really work it and pry it because, again, your engine's an inch higher than it normally is. And I wanted to mention here too, I did take the outer shroud off. There's another one on there. It's a Honda-looking one here that stays on. It's going to be a little hotter, I'm sure, but it's in a good position. I really don't think I'm going to have a problem with it. If I go with the stage 1, you're going to get the exhaust that goes around this way. So that'll be another video. If I do that, I'll see how it runs. I'm trying to avoid the stage 1 if I can, but I really likes the look of the pod filter. Again, this carburetor is an EPA carburetor that apparently the jets don't come out easily. They have a one-way screw in them. But I really think that if you take a T15 or something and jam it up in there and just ease it out, I think you can get it, or even take an easy out. And I bet without even doing a hole, the screw hole, I think you can take an easy out up in there and just take it so gingerly. I think you can get it out. And I may try it. The carburetors are about $20 to buy if you need to. Maybe you can find one for 10 if I do screw it up. But that's my only step back on a stage 1 is that damn jet being stuck in there. So, yeah, I'll let you know how the rest of it turns out. Alrighty, so here's my final modification and what it's going to look like. So, again, I removed this spring that shrouds this here. That bunches and kind of doings out as you try to condense it because it's so much spring. And I'm just utilizing this little Honda spring. And again, I cut this stop off. I didn't get a video with it, but what it would do would only go about to here because that screw, it would hit that screw. But now I can go all the way. And I'm still not totally wowed by this throttle setup. But as you can see, the governor springs are still in there, and that offers a little return too.
It's almost perfect. Like you can get a really good start without doing a wheelie. Like no problem. Like. You have to stop fast. You're a goner. Yeah, I'll have to see what's going on with those disc brakes.
Well,
One more wheelie.
well, tell you what, kids, price of admission, I did pay a lot for that torque converter, but man, oh man, there's no modification you can make to a mini bike that will improve it more than a torque converter will. Holy cannoli, drivability, low speed crawling, wheelies. You know, I felt like almost the clutch gave it a little bit more right off the very start, but no way, this is way better. It does it a very good range all directions. Rich MXX 125 signing off.